Hey everybody, XDesign 101 here, and on request and acknowledgement due to I missed something in the original skills video, we are going to be remaking the skill. So let's get down to it. Open the main editor, go to skills, press the plus, which is add. It'll add a skill 0 if you have no skills, because you will have no skills if you just started this along with the tutorial. Sorry for that weird mispronunciation there. You can use any one of these as a way to find the skill. I don't use the indent, but you can. Indent would be any number. You know, if you want to number your skills from 1 to however many skills you have. Your screen name, always name it something, and then a short name, which is your next preferred way of getting the object or the skill. You normally would use this in health, so if you don't already have that, you can add them here now, might as well. EXP. This way you could find them by the short name if you have any problems finding them with the regular name, which I doubt it, but some people like the short name. It's faster to do things with the short name than it is the full name. So in the basic section, the execution time, you would normally set that to the length of the animation that is playing. So if your animation is 1 second long, then you don't want anything interrupting that too early. So you can either position it just when the skill's about to be finished or when it's completely finished. This way, you know, like it can properly do the next skill without causing a big, like, you know, glitch through the animations, because if the animations are too different, it won't quite blend properly or smoothly. But it's definitely doable if you have skills that blend together nicely. Then you could work with the execution time a bit and your cooldown time. The cooldown time is pretty much just telling you how long you have when you finish the skill. You can reuse the skill. So after 0.5 seconds, I have to wait 1 second to redo the skill, or reuse, I mean. Perform while moving. The animation we're using currently does not really support that. It will look weird because your feet will slide because the animation locks the feet. We'll probably work on undoing that at some point. Unity has something for that. But for now, we'll just perform while moving off. We'll force stop, can be queued, and we'll make sure actor must face target. Go to our activation. We'll use user in the activation. We'll keep it at delivery instant. Sorry, I was like hiccuping, kind of, while trying to say delivery. It was weird. In the target methods, we're going to keep it at auto because we want to be able to hit more than one target automatically. Valid targets, hostile, because we're using the factions. We will obstacle check wall and any other layers that you would like put in. So maybe tree, or you can just set trees as the wall if you want to. I don't know. I normally just kind of go with wall for everything that's up and in the way. I'll just put it as wall. You could put tree and other names for objects, you know, if you want to really be fancy like that. Let's go to instant delivery. We want to be at actor direction. You can use pretty much anything. Depends on what you're going on about here. So actor direction, just kind of, if you look at it, it goes directly in the angle of 90 in front of you. And then the distance would be 3. You can do mouse direction, so it's wherever your mouse is, so that's kind of self-explanatory, but if you're hovering your mouse over the monster, that's the direction you're going to be facing, is the monster you're hovering over. If you're obviously on a different monster, you're going to end up facing that monster. If you're hovering over nothing, then you're just going to get hit and not attack anything. Selected direction, it's when you make a selection. Since it's auto-targeting, it should face maybe automatically. I'm not sure. I haven't used select direction much for the first slash skill. I normally use it for when I'm using magic attack or something like that. And then at click position would be where you clicked. At selected makes sense. This is what you would definitely use for NPCs. We get to that in the future video, which is already released. Mouse over. Similar idea to mouse direction, but I guess it's looking, the mouse over is now looking for your hostile actor. And there's camera forward and then camera direction. Camera forward makes sense, and then camera direction would also generally be the same. Crosshair over, you're able to put a crosshair, so basically the very center of your camera becomes like a point, and then you would just use a UI to a UI image to make like a crosshair, and then you would kind of like maybe put it off to the side or something. I've played a game once before that had that. It was kind of interesting. I didn't entirely like it because you always had to face your camera towards the monsters instead of just kind of turning your character around, so it was extra tedious work. So we're just going to go back to active direction. I just figured I'd explain those few things to you guys quickly. Your hit height, depending on where your character is hitting, like with a sword, you'll adjust the height. So like if you see the swords hitting about the lower waist, then you'd probably put it at about between 35 and 50 somewhere. You would adjust it as you test it. It would obviously be different for every attack, so it's based off the animation. That's how you'll do the height. If you do 100, I believe it's going to be around the head it's going to hit. 50 should be about the waist slash center. Your hit delay. Basically, you don't want this to attack to hit until the swords hit the character, or it looks like it hit something, you know what I mean? So there's going to be like the wind up and then the swing, and there's that like kind of 0.3 seconds like I have here where it's not actually touching the monster, so why would you hit the monster? It wouldn't really look realistic in any way. So you'd wait, and then it would hit the monster, and as you're leaving, it shows the hit, which we're going to be doing later through this video. Our max target select 3, so we get able to hit 3 monsters at a time if we're attacking a little bit of a mob. You can adjust this depending on how much of a hack and slash mobbing kind of game you're going to be having. And then your max distance would depend on also how big of a weapon you have, and if you're using magic, then you would adjust that to like a much higher number so that you're able to use it from a couple feet away, because magic you should be allowed to use after a few feet. And your angle is completely adjustable. I use 90 for my player characters just because it's not exactly the full, like aspect ratio of human life, but 90 is very good for the sword swing animation that I'm using. So that is good. Now we're going to go up and edit events. Sorry I'm rambling a little bit. I'm just trying to explain a little bit of everything with a bit more detail so that everybody understands what's going on. So inside of here, sorry, we're going to want to create a state. So by clicking on the plus, you create a state. I don't really need this state here, but you create the state. Then you're going to press the plus on while highlighting the state. Going to go to apply RPG skill. You're going to want to grab on skill activate, and then you're going to go back, apply RPG skill, on skill hit. I'll remove those quickly. Now in the on skill activate, we want to do the animation. So we'll click animations here in the top. A little bit of direction here in this panel. This top here that I have open, this is all the list of the blocks, so like variables, renderers, physics, objects, maths, items, IO, which is your saving, your input, your GUI, your flow, which is like, you know, your if statement start stuff, and whether things are equal, whether or not, you know what I mean. We'll get more into all these blocks later on. The quest blocks, common blocks, and then most of your character blocks, audio, and then again animation. So we're going down to Mechanum. Since we are using a Mechanum based character with Mechanum animations, we need the crossfade block here. The crossfade block creates a dynamic transition between the current state and the destination state. If you read the info right here, it's pretty much what I just said. I kind of like read it off without really reading it off, but that's exactly what it does. If you just read, you'll get more information on that. But yeah, add that into there. We're now going to want to change the value here to the name of our animation. So let's we can close this tab since we don't need it, and we have the blocks window open. If you still have your animator tab open here, you can just click on it. This way we have all of our animations. Apparently I'm still going to have to find the animation because it hasn't been clicked on in a while. Let's see. There we go. Shrink this down. So our animation name right here, BW underscore attack 00. If you didn't already, you could actually remove the condition and completely delete the attack float that we made, because that is completely unnecessary. Because as long as has exit time is on, it's going to play. So now that we know the name, we're going to go back up into here. Our blocks for our skill. If you lost the blocks for our skill, just head back into our main editor, skills / edit events. And go back into our, here, let me move that up there. Now type in the name of it, so BW with capitals underscore attack. Everything has to be spot on the same. And then we could do the animation itself, but that would make no sense because it would then do it on the blocks object of the skill. But we want to do it on the skill owner. If we actually just click on here without clicking on anything in here, we get we get some information here on what are some of the temporary variables we can access within using this. So we want to use the skill owner because it's going to grab the actor game object that owns the skill. There's the skill object, which we could use self already to use the skill object, so it wouldn't make much sense unless we were throwing skill object towards another event. Then we can do that. But the only other ones we would really use would be in the next part of this. So we're just going to go into our variables at the bottom here. Look for our temporary variables. It's a game object, so grab temporary game object and you just add that into there. Change it to skill owner, lowercase s, capital O owner, all one word. Capitalization is very important in this, like I said. I'm going to mention this every time because capitalization will always screw you over. And now you're done with the animation. Let's continue with the skill before I address the issue that I just thought of. With the on skill hit now, we actually want to damage the character or the monster that we're hitting, and we also want to create a splat or a blood splat in general. So a few things we're going to want to do. Start by grabbing these blocks. So in our character tab, we're going to look for sorry, I just had to burp a little. I'm going to look for change attribute in the actor play RPG. And just drag that and drop that in there. Now we're going to click on it. We're going to make sure it's consumable value, and we're going to type in health. And now we want the health of the game object, so we want the hit game object. So the object that we hit, if we look back into this without our on skill hit event without clicking on anything, we have a few temporary variables we can access, and one of them happens to be hit object, and it will be set to the affected / hit object. So as long as you hit a monster, the damage will affect that monster. This way you're able to target 3 monsters instead of doing get selected of self or skill owner, because you can use get selected as skill owner, but then I don't know how that would work overly well, since this is the best way to do it. Just do it this way. I've never done it with that, but I just thought of it, and I guess it could work. Maybe I just wouldn't recommend it. So again, go back to your variables, and go down to temporary variables, grab the game object one more time, place it in there, name it hit object, lowercase h, capital O for object, one word. I'm not going to say it because I just said it twice already, but you know the deal, capitalization. Now we need to negative this number, not plus the number. If you just put a 5, it's actually going to add damage, so make sure you put a minus sign right in front of there. The minus sign is also the underscore sign if you were to hit the shift, so for the people who don't know where that is, I don't know. It happens. Some keyboards are different. Anyway, so -5, make sure that minus is in there. We're done with that. Now let's go to our Objects tab. We want to create instantiate in the Object section. Now we're going to create an instance of a game object. The game object is Splat, which I've created already, but let me close this, drag this down here. Splat. Right here. It is a particle effect that looks like blood, but I could always create another one. But all you have to do is right click 3D objects. Well, actually no, just right click particle system. Then you're going to take the particle system, then you're going to also right click, create an empty, name that Splat or Splat2. Then drag and drop your Splat and parent it into your empty game object Splat or Splat2. And now you will make your modifications to it if you aren't using a blood splat of sorts. So we'll do this for now, just to kind of get it. It's still a bit small as it is. This needs to be zeroed out. Don't know why it wasn't. Okay, let's make it just a bit bigger. Let's go to our emissions. Actually, no. Our lifetime. 0.3. Okay. So once you've adjusted this by your emissions and your shape, so your shape you can change from sphere, hemisphere, cone, box, mesh, mesh render, skinned mesh render, circle, edge. Mesh render would actually be pretty damn cool, actually, if I think about it. That would be pretty cool. I'm probably going to work with some of that now that I see it. It must have been new in the update. Okay, but anyway. Let's continue with this. So I'm going to keep it at sphere since I want it to be kind of like a sphere blood splat. You could put like an image on here instead of the current one. change the particle image here. I don't really want to right now. I'm just going to keep it very basic. But just dragging and dropping like a blood splat pattern with that's transparent everywhere else into here would then make splats kind of thing. You would also change the shape. There's a few things you'd have to do. I'll make a tutorial on how to do the particle system better at another time if anyone really wants to learn. But for now, just do the shape and emission, and your emission would generally stay at about 100. You don't want too many of them out at a time. But I believe the emission's pretty small at the beginning, so raise that. Screw with the radius of the sphere a little bit, and then you want to do your start time and your start speed. Your size as well would adjust the size of the circular particles, since we're using circular particles. Since we're done, we're going to turn off looping. We want it to be about 1 second so that we could actually see the splat fill out. Let's click apply, but since you haven't clicked apply, just drag and drop it into your where is it? We'll just save it in your assets right now, but let's create a folder and call it game objects. Project game objects. There we go. I will just place that in there because I already had it saved. But boom, just drag it and drop it in there. Delete that, raise this up, just drag and drop your splat right into that spot there, so now it knows that that's what it's going to be creating a copy of. And then we need to get the position of the hit object, because we want it to be right exactly where we hit them. So to do this, we need to go to game object, well, objects in the object tab again, and we actually need to go up into our transform. You grab get position. It'll change to this. We actually want the world position, not local. It should already be world, but make sure it's at world position. And then we can just copy and paste that right there. Or you can go back to your variables, find the game object temporary variable, and type it in again. That is all for the skill. Now we need to set up the skill to work for the player. That's just no real error, so don't worry about that, guys. But for the skill to actually work with the player, we're going to click on our character here, go to our blocks, open our blocks. In our on update, we're going to add if action / action 1 uses it goes down. So like if I press the button 1 button on the keyboard, it's going to play my slash skill. So let's go to flow here, grab if, place if in there. You would just drag it and drop it like that there. Now we would grab the we got to go to input here, input, because we're looking for some input choices here. We need button go down, so the button that we press is going to be returned, and if that does not happen, then it's not going to do anything. So button name, there's normally an action button right here, but I guess because I already have one there, it won't work. Anyway, when you place this here, you'll have this button right here to press, and then you're going to go to action and just click action 1. And then we're going to go down to character, use skill, and then let self use skill, and then just click on the part that's here and select the skill slash. Boom. Now, if we go into our game, and I press 1, it'll play. If it's not playing for you right now, I believe that is because in a previous video I changed the animator from the child and placed it in the main object here. You see there's the animator right here. This animator was initially in the art child object. I took it out and I put it on here because it caused me an animation error for some reason. But if that happens for you guys, just go ahead and do this part. If you're having no problems at all, then you don't really need to do this. But yeah, I had to do that, so I did it. Just didn't want to leave that out. The animator is definitely a big thing. It's all explained in the animation videos. Make sure that you always apply and save your characters at all time. Yeah, that's all for this video, guys. So I'll see you guys in the next video. Making the monster. Take care.